The new cards for the month of June have leaked, and it is my favorite season so far. There's so many amazing cards coming out. I am going to be buying every single one of these cards with my collector tokens that I'm going to be saving up. I know there's lots of great cards in May, but it's important to know what's just round the corner. As you can see, we've got the Into the Spiderverse theme for the season with the second film coming out in June. We've got a Spider-Man and a Miles Morales variant, which is going to be very popular indeed. And the season pass card is Ghost Spider. She is going to be synergizing with movement, as are all the other new cards coming in the month of June. And as a lot of you will know, movement is my favorite archetype. What does Ghost Spider do? Well, she's absolutely juiced. She is incredible. 2 energy, 3 stats, which is already pretty good. You're looking at about 4 stats for 2 energy to be like a baseline, but then her ability is very powerful. On reveal, the last card you played moves here. So Ghost Spider is just the 3rd card in the game, which gives you the ability to move cards from left to right. At the moment, we have Doctor Strange and also Cloak. Ghost Spider is working in a similar way to Doctor Strange, where you can pull a specific card, but it's not just going to be limited to the tallest card, but rather limited to the last card you played. So for example, I could play Iron Fist and then Vulture to move my Vulture from the middle location to the left location. My Vulture would then be 8 points. And then the following turn, I could play Ghost Spider, and that would move the Vulture to her location. So a lot of movement decks love to play like a 2-cost and a 3-cost card on turn 5, or 2 2-cost cards on turn 4. So her energy is just beautiful. You can play it either on turn 4 or turn 5 for insane value. It's an amazing card. And there's other movement cards being added in as well, which we're going to take a look at. We're going to look at the cards in the order that they are released in. Spider-Ham is going to be the one that comes after Ghost Spider. On reveal, transform the highest cost card in your opponent's hand into a pig, keeping its power and cost. So Spider-Ham is a 1 energy, 1 power card, and it's quite comparable to Iceman. But instead of increasing their cost, it's going to keep their cost and power the same, but instead of having an ability and being a real card, it's going to be a pig. So let's say, for example, your Spider-Ham hits Heimdall, then your opponent will have a 6 energy, 8 power pig, which of course won't have an ability, which I suppose the pig therefore would be buffed up by Washington DC and Patriot. So how good is Spider-Ham? I think it's very good. My friend Raven, who makes Marvel Snap content, thinks this is one of the best cards in the game. I think it's very much going to be meta dependent, but imagine hitting your opponent Sandman with Spider-Ham. It's absolutely going to be winning you games on the spot, but it has got similar downsides to a card like Iceman, where you're not actually going to see the impact it has until perhaps after the game or when they play the pig, if they ever do, of course. Spider-Ham, very exciting, but I'm even more excited somehow for the other cards, and I do just want to show you some of the other variants for Spider-Ham. Absolutely saucy. These cards are just going to be great to get hold of to try and get your hands on some of these variants. Okay, up next we have Spider-Man 2099, the card I'm most excited for out of them all, because this card is the new machine for movement. It's like a sniper rifle for movement. 4 energy, 5 stats. So you're looking at about 8 stats for this to be like a baseline. So you're going to need this ability to be very, very powerful. And good news, it is. The first time this moves to a location, destroy an enemy card there. Okay, so this is a way of destroying cards similar to Gambit for movement decks. It's going to be more targeted than Gambit because it's going to be at a specific location. And moreover, if we look more deeply into the card text, the card text would suggest that this can kill up to 3 cards. So, for example, on turn number 3, we could play our final card on turn 3 as Iron Fist. This would mean that on turn number 4, we could play Spider-Man 2099 to the far right location, moving it to the middle, and therefore we would be able to destroy a random card there. Then, on turn number 5, we might play something like Ghost Spider to the right location, moving Spider-Man, killing a card there because it's a fresh location. And then we could also play Cloak on turn 5 to the far left location and then move Spider-Man there, and he would kill another card. So you can kill up to 3 of your opponent's units with Spider-Man 2099, which is pretty unbelievable. Very exciting card. Of course, armor is going to be a slight problem for this one, but you're going to see the armor coming and you can just choose a different lane. That's like one of the biggest downsides of Gambit. You don't have that luxury. Of course, Spider-Man is not discarding anything in your hand as well. It's a really exciting card. I'm not sure it's as universally good as Ghost Spider. Ghost Spider is just a straight up improvement to move decks. Spider-Man, I think, has got to be also an improvement. It's just a different card into your arsenal. Definitely a card that you can build around and do some absolute shenanigans with and have a lot of fun with. The final card coming out in the month of June is Silk. And Silk is a little bit different, more comparable maybe to Spider-Ham, where I think it's just a really good card. She's 2 energy, 5 power, which is absolutely insane. I believe there's only 1 2 energy card, which is 5 stats right now, and that's Lizard, which of course just got nerfed. And so we're going to expect this card to have a big downside, and she does. After any card is played here, this moves to another location. So Silk is somewhat comparable to Titania, but instead of moving to your opponent's side of the board back and forth, it's going to be staying on your side of the board, but moving to different locations. Now, the synergy this has with a couple of cards in particular comes to mind. Kraven and Miles. This card would also be potentially very powerful with Storm. With Storm, if you don't have initiative, for example, you could play your Silk into the Storm lane, and then even if your opponent does move your Silk away, you can just play cards where Silk moves till you get her into the Storm location. So she's great with Storm, she's great with Miles, she's probably not bad with Kraven either, and she's 5 stats for 2 with all those synergies. I think this card is absolutely extraordinary. It's going to be a really fun card to play around with. Let's take a quick look at some of the variants. I'm honestly not super familiar with the lore behind Silk, but I assume she's going to be in the upcoming Spider-Man film. Spider-Man 2099 as well. We can look at some of the variants. This one in particular has caught my eye. Very, very excited to see all of the variants in action in the game. And yeah, there we have it. I've also built a little deck just to give you an idea of how you might use a couple of these cards. This is using Ghost Spider and Spider-Man 2099. This particular deck also might want to run America Chavez. I basically just slotted Ghost Spider and Spider-Man 2099 into a traditional movement deck, but there's so many different ways you can go about doing this. I think Ghost Spider is just a mid-range kind of movement card, with cards like Miles already proving to be very popular. I think Kraven is an incredibly underrated card. We've seen some people having good performance with just a random Vulture slotted in there. Spider-Man 2099 could replace the Vulture in those kind of mid-range decks. Maybe we can make some kind of control movement deck with Spider-Man, Storm, Ghost Spider, and Silk. I am so excited for these new cards, as you can probably tell. And let me know what you guys think. What card are you most excited for? I think the Battle Pass itself, Ghost Spider, is really going to be an exciting card. And you can also see there's a couple of nice card backs there with the Ghost Spider and some kind of Spider-Man card back as well. My name's Specimen, and I hope you did enjoy this first look at the June cards. I'm going to be saving up. I'm going to try and buy High Evolutionary this month, and then resist the temptation to buy all the other awesome cards coming out in May, so I can get my hands on all of these absolutely juiced up Spiderverse cards. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know in the comments which one you're most excited for, and I'll see you on the next one. Deuces.